Welcome to this explainer. Today, we are diving straight into a fascinating concept. You've probably heard this intriguing phrase floating around certain personal development or prosperity circles. Money cometh. Now, on the surface, I know, it sounds a bit like an incantation, right? Just say the magic words. But what if I told you there is an actual, deeply functional science behind this phrase? Today, we're going to break down the mechanics of this concept, pulling it completely out of the clouds and dropping it right down into the reality of your daily workflows.
Because it's the ultimate question, isn't it? Can simply saying money is coming actually build wealth? I want to challenge you right off the bat here. Are prosperity declarations just magical thinking, or is there a legitimate behavioral science at play? Because as we're going to see, when you actually apply this properly, this simple phrase acts as the foundation for some incredibly rigorous financial growth.
Here is our roadmap for the explainer. We'll start by unpacking the magic words myth and how to rewire the financial brain. Then, we'll cross the bridge to reality, dig deep into repetitive habits and tech, and finally, wrap up with real-world digital workflows.
Let's kick things off with Section 1, the magic words myth. We really need to move beyond this idea of prosperity theology as just some sort of passive lottery ticket.
It all starts with cognitive reframing. Look, the human brain is evolutionarily hardwired to scan for threats. In our modern world, that threat detection system usually shows up as a scarcity mindset. When you're constantly stressing about a lack of money, your brain literally filters your entire environment just looking for evidence of limitation. But by deliberately declaring that money is coming, you are intentionally forcing a cognitive reframe. You're actively shifting your focus away from scarcity and directly onto the expectation of acquisition. And the really beautiful thing here, this actively deactivates the stress response triggered by financial anxiety.
That shift creates a massive psychological engine. By basically priming your brain with this concept of arrival, you suddenly start spotting opportunities. Maybe you recognize a market trend or a brand new software tool you absolutely would have missed otherwise. It fosters self-efficacy, meaning you stop feeling helpless and you actually start taking proactive steps. Plus, lowering that financial anxiety frees up your prefrontal cortex. That's the part of your brain that handles logical planning and complex decision-making. Ultimately, this leads to behavioral consistency. Instead of completely panicking over a temporary setback, you stay the course.
Our sources also point to a spiritual or philosophical angle here, often called spiritual stewardship. Think of it as visionary endurance. It requires completely detaching your identity from whatever your current bank balance happens to be, and instead treating wealth as a tool for a higher purpose. You're basically expressing gratitude for resources before they even arrive. That acts like a magnet. It totally eliminates desperation and keeps you incredibly focused on providing value while you wait for the results of your hard work to actually show up.
But hey, a positive mindset alone isn't going to pay the rent. So let's cross over into Section 2, the bridge to reality, focusing on alignment and discipline.
Think about this contrast. On one side, you have the abstract declaration, wealth is flowing to me. Sounds great, right? But it's totally incomplete. On the other side is the functional reality. I am creating automated workflows in InVideo. This is where the rubber actually meets the road. Expecting capital without building a system to track, manage, or generate it means any financial benefit you get is just going to slip right through your fingers. You absolutely need a highly grounded, almost mundane operational reality to capture that abstract wealth.
To cross that bridge, you need 3 specific steps of alignment to ensure everything you do is pointing in the exact same direction. Step 1 is mental alignment, keeping that belief in abundance locked in without contradiction. Step 2 is operational alignment. Look, if your goal is 2,000 subscribers, your tools, your automation software, your publishing platforms, they all must be ruthlessly configured to hit that exact target. Every single daily task has to connect to it. And step 3 is values alignment. Revenue is always a secondary effect of providing value. You have to constantly iterate your content so it actually meets the real-world needs of your audience.
And that brings us to the absolute core of our explainer today. Section 3, repetitive habits and tech. This is the true engine of wealth, and spoiler alert, it is built entirely on the unglamorous, everyday grind.
We're talking about 2 main pillars of discipline here. First up, repetitive tasks. We mean things like strictly writing 500 words per topic every single day, or consistently turning out music tracks. It's monotonous, it's a total endurance test. The second pillar is technical maintenance. This is the frustrating, highly specialized problem-solving you have to do just to keep your systems alive. We're talking about troubleshooting a weird Windows registry glitch so your PC doesn't crash, or diligently managing decentralized crypto wallets like Phantom and Soulflare. If you stop doing the repetitive tasks, your momentum instantly dies. If you stop the technical maintenance, your entire digital infrastructure fails.
This leads us to such a vital concept. The mindset is the fuel, but your technical habits are the engine. Saying money cometh isn't waving a magic wand. It's literally just the fuel that stops you from giving up when you are completely exhausted from writing those daily 500 words. It's what keeps you sane when you want to throw your laptop out the window because a software update just broke your entire workflow. It keeps you patient so you can sit down, fix the glitch, and get right back to building your assets. When you combine that mindset fuel with the engine of daily technical habits, you get massive, sustained momentum. Over the course of just 1 month, you start seeing a serious refinement of your systems. You naturally audit your workflows and strip out the inefficiencies. Give it 6 months, and you see increased value output. Because you aren't paralyzed by scarcity anxiety, you're actually producing much higher quality work. And by the 1-year mark, you develop incredible resilience to failure. When a project stalls out, you don't quit, you pivot. It's a cumulative snowball effect that builds a formidable business. So what does this actually look like out in the wild? Let's dive into Section 4, Real-World Digital Workflows, and see exactly how these principles generate cold, hard revenue.
Let's use monetizing custom music tracks as an example. The abstract belief is simply that your creative output is valuable. But the functional reality? That's when you apply strict discipline to a daily production pipeline. You produce across diverse niches: country, folk, modern Latin pop, high-tempo workout music. You make sure every single track is perfectly tagged and uploaded with incredibly precise metadata. You're not just casually making music anymore. Through repetitive daily habits, you are methodically building a highly diversified product catalog that is primed and ready for lucrative licensing.
89. Think about that number for a second. That represents 89 authored books mentioned in the source material. You don't hit a sheer volume like that by sitting around waiting for inspiration to strike. No way. It is achieved entirely by sticking to that rigorous 500-word daily writing protocol without ever giving up. The mindset fueled the endurance for sure, but the repetitive daily habit is what actually typed the words and built that massive digital library.
Let's look at one more, heavily technical example: decentralized infrastructure. If you genuinely believe your participation in a network is going to yield financial rewards, you have to back that belief up with unforgiving technical diligence. You have to track grass network epochs, secure your node connections, carefully manage those Phantom and Soulflare wallets, and actively monitor distribution timelines. If you mess up the settings or miss a claim window just because you neglected your tech maintenance, you don't get paid, period. You have to treat digital asset management as a strict, non-negotiable professional responsibility.
Which brings us to the ultimate takeaway today, perfectly summed up in this quote from the source material. It is a tool for alignment and discipline, not a substitute for action. The money cometh mindset is incredibly powerful. It cures your financial anxiety, it clears your head, and it primes your brain to see opportunities that were always right in front of you. But at the end of the day, you still have to sit down and execute the tedious, repetitive, technical work required to actually capture that wealth.
And that leaves us with a final, pretty provocative question for you to ponder. Take a hard look at your own life and your own routines today. Are your current daily habits, your repetitive tasks, and your technical maintenance truly aligned with the wealth you are expecting? If the answer is no, well, it might just be time to use that mindset as fuel to build yourself a much better engine. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. I hope you found this breakdown as fascinating and actionable as I did. Until next time, keep building those systems.